Luxury SUVs used to mean G-Wagon, Range Rover, maybe a Tesla if you wanted to look futuristic. Then China arrived with machines that feel like private jets on stilts, packed with tech that makes old money look outdated. Tonight, we will reveal 5 Chinese luxury SUVs that could embarrass Western flagships and flip the entire premium game for your driveway. The first one arrives with an attitude that feels less like a car and more like an entrance. Number 5. Hongqi EHS9. This is the SUV designed by the man who used to sketch Rolls-Royces for royalty. The Hongqi EHS9 arrives with a mission statement written across every panel. China can build presence, pedigree, and power without borrowing a single styling cue from Bavaria or Stuttgart. Hongqi itself translates to red flag, the brand that once ferried Chinese heads of state in bespoke limousines. Now it ferries wealthy families in a full-size electric SUV that measures over 5,200 millimeters long, 2,010 millimeters wide, and rides on a 3,110 millimeter wheelbase. Those are BMW X7 dimensions, but the resemblance ends with the tape measure. Step back and watch this thing roll toward you. The front end wears a towering 12-bar vertical grille that glows like a theater marquee, each bar illuminated with LED precision and framing a central red light strip that pays homage to the brand's flag emblem. The body rises tall and confident, wearing two-tone paint that breaks the mass into elegant horizontal layers. Wheels stretch to 21 or 22 inches depending on trim, and the roofline floats above blacked-out pillars in a trick borrowed straight from Rolls-Royce's playbook. This is a rolling monument designed under Giles Taylor, the same man responsible for the Phantom and Cullinan. When people say it looks like a Chinese Cullinan, they mean it as a compliment and a warning. Inside, the EHS9 commits fully to the Digital Palace concept. 3 screens form a continuous glass band across the dashboard, a 12.3-inch instrument cluster for the driver, a 15.6-inch central infotainment display, and a 16-inch passenger screen so no one rides bored. An augmented reality head-up display projects full HD navigation, lane markers, and speed data onto the windshield, turning the glass into a tactical interface. Rear passengers get their own integrated entertainment screens embedded in the front seatbacks, bringing the total screen count to 7 displays across the cabin. Seating comes in 6 or 7 passenger configurations, with the 6-seat layout offering captain's chairs for second-row occupants. Quilted Napa leather wraps nearly every surface, accented by real wood trim and ambient lighting that shifts color and intensity based on drive mode. A panoramic sunroof floods the cabin with natural light, and when the sun sets, the interior glows like a boutique hotel lobby. Under the skin sits a dual-motor all-wheel drive electric powertrain drawing energy from either an 84 kilowatt-hour battery or a larger 99 kilowatt-hour pack. The 99 kilowatt-hour version delivers 405 kilowatts of power, roughly 551 horsepower, with 750 newton-meters of torque, pushing the EHS9 from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 4.9 seconds. Top speed sits around 200 kilometers per hour. Range on the WLTP cycle reaches approximately 465 kilometers with the larger battery, while the Chinese market offers a 120 kilowatt-hour long-range version capable of up to 690 kilometers under the more optimistic NEDC standard. DC fast charging peaks at 140 kilowatts, adding roughly 100 kilometers in about 10 minutes at a compatible station. The platform underneath is Hongqi's FMA modular electric architecture, tuned for both comfort and crash safety. Euro NCAP gave the EHS9 a 5-star rating with strong adult and child safety scores hovering between 82 and 87%, proving this is more than just a pretty face. The EHS9 landed in Europe with Norway as its first proving ground. Introductory pricing there ranged from 599,900 to 759,900 Norwegian kroner depending on trim, positioning the SUV against established European electric flagships like the Mercedes EQS SUV, BMW iX, and Audi e-tron. Early deliveries saw the EHS9 crack Norway's top 15 car sales list, competing directly with brands that have spent decades building loyalty in Scandinavia. Hongqi has since expanded into the Netherlands, Poland, and Germany, with plans to launch 15 models across Europe by 2028, supported by over 200 dealers. In the Middle East, the EHS9 sells in markets like the UAE with pricing around 300,000 to 416,000 dirhams, far below a Rolls-Royce Cullinan but delivering comparable driveway drama and executive presence. Europe spent a century exporting S-Class sedans and Bentley coupes to China. Now China exports a Rolls-Royce-sized electric SUV back to Europe at half the price, fully loaded, and backed by a former Rolls-Royce designer. The question becomes whether badge prestige still matters when the product itself delivers everything the badge used to promise. Presence matters, but the next one treats every arrival like a private screening. Number 4. AITO M9. This is the SUV that doubles as a home theater and happens to seat 6 people. The AITO M9 represents what happens when a smartphone company decides to build a luxury flagship on wheels. AITO is a joint venture between Cirrus and Huawei, and the M9 sits at the top of their lineup as a full-size executive SUV measuring 5,230mm long, 1,999mm wide, 1,800mm tall, with a 3,110mm wheelbase. Those dimensions place it squarely in BMW X7 and Mercedes GLS territory, but the M9 diverges sharply once you start counting screens and speakers. From the outside, the M9 looks confident without screaming for attention. The front fascia blends sharp LED lighting signatures with a bold grille and sculpted bumper work, while the roofline tapers gently toward the rear in a nod to coupe SUV styling trends. The body rides on an aluminum structure with approximately 80% aluminum content, reducing weight and improving crash dynamics. Air suspension with 80mm of height adjustment lets the M9 glide over highways or rise for rougher terrain, always maintaining composure. In 2024, the M9 earned a Super 5-star safety rating from CNCAP under the 2021 protocol, scoring around 93.9% overall, the highest result recorded under that standard at the time. Wheels range up to 22 inches, and the overall presence feels more executive sedan than aggressive off-roader. Open the door and the cabin reveals its true identity. 3 screens stretch across the dashboard behind a single continuous glass surface, a 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster, a 15.6-inch central touchscreen, and a 16-inch front passenger display. All 3 run Harmony OS 4, Huawei's proprietary operating system that treats the car like a giant smartphone. Apps, navigation, media, and settings flow between screens seamlessly, and the system integrates with Huawei phones, tablets, and watches so you can continue video calls or app sessions between devices without interruption. Above the dash floats a 75-inch augmented reality head-up display, one of the largest in any production car, projecting navigation arrows, lane markers, and even augmented reality elements directly onto the windshield. It feels less like looking at a screen, and more like the road itself is feeding you information. Second-row passengers enjoy their own entertainment universe. Optional configurations include a 32-inch retractable projection screen paired with a laser projector, transforming the rear cabin into a mobile cinema. Additional 10-inch displays for second and third rows handle individual media needs. The audio system features 25 speakers pumping 2,080 watts through a Dolby Atmos-enabled soundstage with active noise cancellation. Close the doors, cue a movie, recline the zero-gravity seats 2.0, and the M9 becomes a private theater that happens to move. Seating comes in 6-seat executive layout with 2+2+2 configuration, or a more spacious 5-seat version offering 1,220mm of second-row legroom. Second-row seats fully recline with leg rests, heating, ventilation, and massage functions. Materials include premium leather, Alcantara accents, real wood trim, and Huawei's X-Pixel lighting system, which syncs complex ambient lighting scenarios with music or movie content for an immersive cabin atmosphere. Powertrain options split into 2 camps. The range extender version uses a 1.5-liter turbo engine purely as a generator, feeding a dual-motor all-wheel drive system with 365 kilowatts of combined output. Battery capacity sits at 52 kilowatt-hours, delivering 266 to 290 kilometers of pure electric range and up to 1,474 kilometers of combined range when you factor in the gas tank. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour happens in 4.9 seconds. The pure electric version ditches the range extender and installs a 100 kilowatt-hour battery pack powering dual motors with 390 kilowatts total output. Pure electric range reaches 605 to 630 kilometers under CLTC testing, and acceleration drops to 4.3 seconds for the sprint to 100 kilometers per hour. Both versions ride on air suspension and deliver whisper-quiet cabins thanks to extensive sound deadening and active noise cancellation. Technology goes deeper than screens and speakers. The M9 uses Huawei's ADS autonomous driving system with up to 4 LiDARs in the 2025 model, supporting advanced highway and urban navigation on autopilot functions within China. Xinghe satellite communication allows messaging and connection sharing up to 30 meters around the car even when cellular coverage disappears. External microphones detect emergency vehicle sirens and adjust driving behavior accordingly. Harmony OS 4 powers the cockpit experience, enabling app-like interfaces, voice control, and cross-device continuity that makes switching from phone to car feel seamless. In China, the M9 launched with pricing starting around $65,750 equivalent, targeting buyers who would otherwise consider the Li Auto L9, BMW X7, or Mercedes GLS. Within its first year, AITO claims over 200,000 M9s delivered, making it one of the best-selling luxury SUVs priced above 500,000 yuan in China. The SUV is sold through Huawei's 800 retail stores across the country, meaning you can order a flagship SUV next to a smartphone display. AITO markets the M9 as the best SUV under 10 million yuan, a bold claim that positions it against S-Class and Bentley-level technology at a fraction of the cost. Americans still argue about CarPlay versus Android Auto. Meanwhile, Huawei turned an entire SUV into a 6-seat cinema with more pixels than most living rooms and a sound system that rivals dedicated home theaters. When the product delivers this much at this price, how long before the badge becomes irrelevant? Cinema matters, but the next one makes even the doors feel like a performance. Number 3. HiPhi X. This is the SUV that makes Tesla's Falcon doors look like last season's demo reel. The HiPhi X arrives from Human Horizons under the HiPhi brand as a full-size electric luxury SUV designed to challenge every assumption about what Chinese automakers can build. Measuring approximately 5,200 millimeters long, 2,060 millimeters wide, 1,620 millimeters tall, with a 3,150 millimeter wheelbase, the X sits in Mercedes GLS, BMW X7, and Tesla Model X territory. In China, pricing started around 620,000 yuan, and in Europe the HiPhi X lands at 109,000 to 123,000 euros in Germany, squarely in Porsche Cayenne, Mercedes EQS SUV, and BMW iX money. This is China going directly after Europe's luxury kings on their own turf, and the opening salvo involves doors that move like nothing else on the road. The signature party trick is the NT door system. Front doors open conventionally, but the rear doors split into two sections. The lower portion is a rear-hinged coach door, and the upper section is a gullwing that lifts into the roof. Both sections are fully power-operated and can open or close automatically. The doors are handleless and touch-free, unlocking and opening via face recognition, smartphone app, or a smart key fob. The split design means the gullwing only needs part of the vertical space required by a traditional Falcon door, making it more practical in tight garages or when loading children and child seats into the second and third rows. HiPhi itself markets this as an arrival moment, a choreographed electric dance that makes every exit feel like a celebrity appearance. Even hardcore Tesla fans admit these split coach and gullwing doors make Model X Falcon doors look like last season's tech demo. Step inside and the cabin shifts from spectacle to lounge. 3 large screens dominate the front, a 14.6-inch driver display, a 16.9-inch central touchscreen, and a dedicated passenger screen. Some trims add an additional rear screen for back passengers. Materials include semi-aniline or Nappa leather, suede headliners, real metal trim, and extensive customization options. The 4-seat executive version features serious reclining chairs with power ottomans, while 6-seat family configurations balance luxury with practicality. A Meridian audio system with up to 17 speakers transforms the cabin into an immersive sound theater, and 128-color ambient lighting with 64 levels of brightness lets you sync lighting themes to drive modes or create custom palettes. Some variants offer a built-in champagne fridge, wheel designs up to 22 inches, and deeply customizable interior schemes. The vibe leans more tech lounge than traditional luxury, a rolling smart home that doubles as a cinema and a nightclub depending on the hour. Under the hood sits a dual-motor all-wheel drive system with up to 440 kilowatts of power, roughly 590 horsepower, and 820 newton-meters of torque. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour happens in 3.9 seconds, with a top speed around 200 kilometers per hour. That performance matches a BMW iX M60 or Audi e-tron S. The battery pack measures approximately 97 kilowatt hours, delivering up to 550 to 560 kilometers of range under CLTC testing in China, and roughly 460 kilometers under the more conservative WLTP cycle in Europe. The HiPhi V platform underneath uses double wishbone front suspension and multi-link rear suspension, both paired with air springs and continuous damping control. The car constantly reads road data and adjusts damping to stay flat and smooth, whether cruising highways or navigating urban potholes. Active rear wheel steering with up to 10 degrees of steering angle dramatically tightens the turning circle, making a 5.2-meter SUV maneuver like a compact crossover in tight spaces. High-end suppliers like Bosch, Michelin, and Brembo handle braking and handling hardware, blending premium European components with wild Chinese design. Technology reaches deeper, deeper than screens and speakers. HiPhi X launched as one of China's first production cars claiming Level 3 autonomous driving capability with dual redundant systems for steering, braking, and computing. The HiPhi Pilot ADAS suite uses around 24 sensors, 7 cameras, radars, ultrasonic sensors, and high-precision GPS with mapping to handle highway assist, traffic jam pilot, lane changes, automatic parking, and a Level 4-style autonomous valet parking mode in mapped parking lots. Programmable matrix lights feature 2.6 million micro mirrors that can project patterns, assist with predictive trajectory, highlight lane guidance, and warn of blind spot dangers. Inside, HiPhi's operating system centers around the HiPhi Go voice assistant, high bandwidth connectivity, 5G support, and facial recognition for personalized settings. The car learns preferences, adapts interfaces, and evolves behavior over time through over-the-air updates. In Europe, 109,000 to 123,000 euro pricing puts the HiPhi X directly against the Mercedes EQS SUV, BMW iX, and Porsche Cayenne. In China, the X became a Halo-Tech Luxe model, proving Chinese brands could sell a domestic EV at six-figure euro pricing and still find buyers. It was one of the top-selling ultra-luxury EVs in its segment at launch, driven by early adopters chasing the most advanced, most theatrical SUV on the market. When this rolls into Munich or Oslo with those split gull-wing doors open to the sky, people stop asking what car it is. They start asking, since when does China build machines this ambitious, this theatrical, and this capable of making established luxury brands look like they're standing still? Spectacle grabs attention, but the next one backs it up with tricks that rewrite physics. Number 2. BYD Yangwang U8. This is the SUV that can spin like a tank, walk like a crab, and float like a boat. The BYD Yangwang U8 represents BYD's push into ultra-luxury territory under its Yangwang sub-brand, positioned to challenge the Mercedes G-Class, Range Rover, and high-end Land Rover Defenders. This is a full-size luxury SUV measuring 5,320 to 5,400 millimeters long, 2,050 millimeters wide, 1,930 millimeters tall, with a wheelbase stretching up to 3,250 millimeters for the long wheelbase U8L variant. In China, the premium edition launched at 1,098,000 yuan, and the extended U8L at 1.28 million yuan, roughly 150,000 to 180,000 US dollars, making it one of the most expensive Chinese production vehicles ever built. This is supercar money for an SUV that does tricks no Mercedes engineer has even attempted. From the outside, the U8 looks ready for war or a red carpet, depending on context. The body sits on a traditional body-on-frame chassis, more Land Cruiser or G-Class than unibody crossover, giving it the structural backbone for serious off-road capability. The Off-Road Master Edition adds aggressive bumpers, a roof rack, ladder, and snorkel, backing up the tough looks with real hardware. Wheels and stance scream presence, and the overall silhouette blends luxury SUV proportions with military-grade ruggedness. This is the kind of vehicle that stops traffic at valet stands and mountain trails equally. Inside, the U8L offers a 2+2+2 6-seat executive configuration with approximately 5.3 cubic meters of cabin volume and enormous knee room for second-row passengers. Materials include Napa leather, Alcantara, and Sapele wood trim, with extensive ambient lighting and a huge panoramic roof flooding the cabin with natural light. Screens dominate the dashboard: a 23.6-inch digital instrument cluster, a 23.6-inch passenger display, a 12.8-inch curved OLED central screen, and an augmented reality head-up display. An optional 21.4-inch ceiling-mounted entertainment screen serves rear passengers, turning the third row into a mobile theater. Audio comes via up to 32 Dynaudio speakers with Dolby Atmos, creating a cinema-grade soundstage. Second-row passengers enjoy zero-gravity executive seats with 18-point massage, leg rests, headrest speakers, a mini table, individual armrest screens, and wireless charging. The center console houses a fridge freezer heater module that maintains drinks and food between -6 degrees Celsius and 50 degrees Celsius. Your G-Wagon has heated seats. This thing has a built-in wine fridge that could keep champagne cold while you're literally floating. The powertrain is ridiculous. The U8 uses a range extender plug-in hybrid architecture with a 2.0-liter turbo petrol engine that works only as a generator, feeding 4 electric motors mounted one per wheel on BYD's E4 platform. Combined output reaches approximately 880 kilowatts, roughly 1,180 horsepower, with 1,520 newton-meters of torque. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour happens in 3.5 to 3.6 seconds, depending on variant. The battery is a 49 to 55 kilowatt-hour BYD blade pack, delivering around 180 to 200 kilometers of electric-only range under CLTC testing, with approximately 1,000 to 1,160 kilometers of combined range on a full tank and charge. This is over 1,100 horsepower in a family SUV that can tow, off-road, and still drive 1,000 kilometers on one tank and charge. The E4 quad-motor system is where physics gets rewritten. Each wheel receives independent torque control hundreds of times faster than traditional all-wheel drive systems. BYD claims the U8 can maintain stability at speed even if one tire blows out. Tank turn mode, officially called vehicle origin turn, lets the car spin almost 360 degrees on the spot by rotating left and right side wheels in opposite directions. Videos show the U8 doing full donuts without moving forward. Crab walk mode steers and torques all four wheels to move the car diagonally, useful for tight trails or sideways parking. There are 13 driving modes covering rock, mud, sand, snow, and flooding conditions. This is the kind of off-road tech that makes a G-Wagon or Range Rover look like they're still running on analog thinking. The wildest trick is emergency float mode. Officially, the U8 can wade up to 1.0 meter of water in premium trim or 1.4 meters in off-road master trim with snorkel. If sensors detect the car has gone beyond safe wading depth, it automatically triggers emergency floating mode. The engine shuts off, suspension raises, HVAC switches to internal circulation, windows close, and the car floats. In tests, BYD shows the U8 floating for up to 30 minutes, maintaining control of steering and propulsion so it can sail at low speed for around 3 kilometers to reach safety. The roof can open as an emergency exit if needed. Imagine driving your family SUV into a flooded underpass, and instead of panicking, the car calmly turns into a slow-motion rescue boat. Suspension comes via BYD's D-SUS P intelligent hydraulic body control system, which can raise or lower the body by up to 150 millimeters. It actively counters roll, pitch, and squat for a magic carpet ride on pavement while still handling big off-road articulation. Smart tech includes BYD's God's Eye, a driver assistance suite with 3 LiDARs, 5mm wave radars, 14 ultrasonic radars, and 18 cameras, supporting high-speed and city navigation on autopilot, automatic parking, and remote parking. The Dialink 300 infotainment system runs on a 3nm cockpit chip for fast UI and multi-screen coordination. Cabin noise stays at or below 64.6 decibels at 120 km per hour, which is S-Class territory. This is the SUV that costs supercar money but does tricks no Mercedes engineer has even attempted. It's a 1,100 horsepower, boat mode, tank-turning spaceship that happens to look like an SUV. When a machine this capable, this wild, and this luxurious comes from China at this price, how much longer before traditional luxury badges feel like paying extra for less? Control over physics is impressive, but the next one adds glass, seating, and a view that turns every drive into an occasion. Number 1. IMLS7. This is the SUV with a helicopter windshield, zero-gravity lounge, and 800-volt speed. The IMLS7 comes from IM Motors, a joint venture between SAIC Motor, Alibaba, and Shanghai's Pudong government. This is literally a car built by an automaker and a tech giant working together, and the result is a mid to large size, pure electric luxury SUV measuring approximately 5,049 millimeters long, 2,002 millimeters wide, 1,730 to 1,780 millimeters tall, with a 3,060 millimeter wheelbase. Those dimensions place it in BMW X5 and Audi Q8 territory, but the LS7 diverges sharply once you see the glass and step inside. In China, initial pricing started around $45,000 to $52,000 US equivalent, with refreshed 2025 models starting at approximately 329,900 yuan, roughly $46,000. This is Range Rover glass and S-Class tech for mid-spec BMW X3 money. The star of the show is the glass dome. The Star Fall ice-sensing dome windshield is an enormous 2.6 meter or approximately 2 square meter glass panel stretching up over the front seats, delivering a 180-degree horizontal field of view and 106-degree vertical viewing angle. It feels like sitting in a helicopter bubble canopy. Built using aerospace-grade glass technology, the windshield offers impact resistance up to 4 times the Chinese national standard, with triple silver coating blocking 99.99% of UV rays while keeping heat out. The idea is to deliver an IMAX windshield experience while remaining safe and comfortable enough for Middle East, Chinese, or American sun. Most premium SUVs still charge extra for a tiny sunroof. This thing hands you business class seats under a private jet canopy. Inside, the LS7 commits to the variable space concept. This is a 5-seat SUV, but the focus is rear lounge feel rather than cramming in a third row. IM claims over 90% cabin occupancy efficiency, with rear passengers receiving around 1,045 millimeters of headroom, 1,028 millimeters of legroom, and 187 millimeters of knee room. The rear zero-gravity seat and queen seat front passenger configuration allow the front passenger to fold almost completely flat beneath the dashboard, while the rear seat kicks up into lounging posture. Refreshed models add a zero-gravity co-driver seat with 128-degree backrest recline, calf support, and fully powered leg rest. With the rear bench folded, the cabin creates a 1.8-meter superbed that turns the car into a mini bedroom or cinema. All 5 seats feature heating, ventilation, and massage as standard in high trims, something even many German rivals reserve for options or just the front. Interior design follows a Pure Plus premium aesthetic. Minimalist, bright cabin cabin with soft materials, real wood, laminated glass, and flush panels. A giant interconnected screen setup spans the dash. Earlier cars used a wide, liftable panoramic display with driver and passenger sections totaling 26.3 inches plus 12.3 inches and a separate 12.8-inch AMOLED central screen. Refreshed models now use a fixed but still panoramic screen for stability and reliability. All 11 glass panels in the car are double-layer acoustic glass paired with active noise cancellation, turning the cabin into a noise-canceling headphone bubble for the whole SUV. A cabin air quality management system deodorizes the interior and claims air quality equivalent to 180 days of ventilation, perfect for framing the LS7 as a clean cocoon against urban pollution. The refreshed LS7 runs on an 800-volt high-voltage platform with a 100 kilowatt-hour battery delivering 680 to 740 kilometers of CLTC range depending on variant, translating to realistically over 640 kilometers in more conservative testing. Ultra-fast charging lets you add roughly 500 kilometers of range in about 15 minutes at a compatible DC charger, putting the LS7 in the same conversation as Hyundai eGMP and top-tier Chinese 800-volt rivals. Powertrain options include a rear-wheel drive, 300 kilowatt setup, or an all-wheel drive configuration with 579 kilowatts combined output. The AWD version hits 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in as low as 3.48 seconds on top spec. By the time you've ordered coffee and scrolled social media, this SUV is ready for another road trip. The Lizard digital chassis integrates stability control, suspension control, and four-wheel steering into one system. Rear wheels can steer up to 6 degrees, cutting the turning circle to approximately 5.3 meters, even though the car is over 5 meters long. Hardware partners include Continental air suspension, Brembo brake discs, and advanced brake-by-wire. This is the SUV that turns in like a hot hatch, cruises like a limousine, and charges like a race car pit stop. With 100% double-layer acoustic glass and active road noise cancellation, the LS7 is explicitly tuned for quietness. Reviewers describe it as feeling more cocooned than some European rivals. The mix of frameless windows, soft closed doors, laminated glass roof, and heavy ceiling drives home that this is proper luxury, refined and deliberate. Tech stack includes a Qualcomm Snapdragon 8295 cockpit chip, iMOS 3.6 software, and integration with large language models like DeepSeek for natural voice and AI interaction. IMAD 3.0 driver assistance uses LiDAR, NVIDIA Orin X processing, and Momenta software, providing high-level assisted driving and map-free navigate on autopilot coverage across most Chinese roads, including rural segments. IM basically turned the LS7 into an AI testbed. This thing has more computing power than some gaming PCS, and it's just running your seat massage and blind spot visuals. The LS7 delivers on 3 fronts simultaneously: glass dome versus sunroof. Most Western SUVs still brag about a panoramic roof. LS7 gives you a glass cockpit straight off a private jet. Zero-gravity seat versus optional recline pack. The LS7 offers standard zero-gravity setups while European options cost thousands and still fail to go fully flat. 800-volt charging versus range anxiety. 500 kilometers in 15 minutes is an easy visual punchline. The LS7 is more subtle than the HiPhi X doors, more focused than the U8's tricks, and more refined than the M9's screen count, but absolutely brutal on comfort and tech specs. When a Chinese SUV gives you helicopter glass, zero-gravity lounge, 800-volt charging, and S-Class silence for BMW X3 money, the entire concept of what defines luxury gets rewritten. The question becomes whether traditional brands can adapt fast enough, or whether the future of premium simply speaks a different language. Chinese luxury SUVs are changing what premium means. Technology, comfort, and value now challenge heritage and badge prestige in ways that seemed impossible 5 years ago. Which one would you pick, and which feature shocked you most? Stay tuned for more deep dives into the cars rewriting the rulebook.